Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.
My name is Art Whitman, Chairperson of the Shaftsbury Select Board. I'd like to bring this meeting of the Shaftsbury Select Board to order on Tuesday, July 5th, 2022 at 6:30. First order of business, is there a conflict of interest with anything showing on the agenda?
No.
Would like to point out that there is an error. We've got the Shaftsbury, or the sheriff's contract down twice. We're only going to sign one contract, so, okay. We have minutes from two previous meetings. First one is from June 6th. I was here, Tony was here, Martha, and Mike, and Joe. Everybody was here. So entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
Moved by Joe, second by Tony. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, 5-0-0. And the next one is from June 22nd. Tony was acting as the chair, so I was not here, Martha and Joe. Entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved. Second.
Tony and Joe. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have to abstain, so it's going to be
I'll
4.
abstain also.
And you're abstaining too, so it's a 3-0-2. Okay. We're up to warrants. Big one first. I have a payroll warrant, number 26, for $25,268.28.
So moved.
Moved by Tony,
Second.
seconded by Joe. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried, 5-0-0.
Yes.
Check warrant number 1. That's right, it is the first one. Okay, check warrant number 1 for $40,239.60.
So moved.
Moved by Tony,
Second.
second by Mike. Items $1,000 or more. Bennington County, $14,101 $181. Another one for Bennington County for $2,468. Bennington County Sheriff's, $1,676. GA Bove Fuel for $1,124. Another one for Bove, $2,344. Matt Morris Excavating for $1,640.
It's a water department bill.
Okay. Sycamore Landscaping, $2,755. Vermont League of Cities and Towns, $56,2039.
That's the annual dues. They get them right in the first payment.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, 500.
Thank you. Yes.
The next one is check warrant number 4. This is for the retirement, is that right, Dave?
Yes, that's
Yes.
the retirement payments.
Retirement, $11,269.76.
So moved.
Moved by Tony,
Second?
second by Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried, 500. And the last one is check warrant number 41, which is really on last year's budget. There was a mathematical error in what we owe tax collector Mr. Snow, and so we owe him $600 more, and so I need a motion to pay him $600.
So moved.
Moved by Joe,
Second.
second by Tony. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so carried, 500. Any announcements? Does anybody have any? Dave, you have any?
Nope.
Set? Is there anybody for public comments?
There's no public.
No public, okay. Melanie?
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year.
Aye.
For us it is, that's right.
Let's look at the cash flow first, please. So this is the last one for the fiscal year, obviously. You see that fairly large number of delinquent taxes there. That's kind of a lot for this time of year. A lot of that is from the program that's helping people out with
Wonderful.
who are not able to meet their obligations because of COVID. And so Mert has got himself into it now, and some people are able to take advantage of that, which I'm very happy to see. The void checks there, that was a part of the end-of-year housekeeping. There were 5 checks that had not been cashed for one reason or another, so we voided those and reissued them just to make sure that everything was happening in the proper fiscal year. One of those was a community appropriation check that was probably a pretty significant part of their budget, but they somehow just
Well, that's funny.
didn't notice that they hadn't gotten it. But anyway, so that's been reissued. The large interfund transfer you see there, that's another end-of-year housekeeping. That's to make sure that all the money that was owed to the general fund came back to the proper place before June 30th. So that was all the checks that you guys have been approving that go to other funds for the last couple of months. So, and it also helps our cash position going into the this period when we don't have any money to speak of coming in before property tax bills go out. Let's see. That bequest was an unusual, no strings attached bequest that we got that we just.
Yeah, the attorneys just sent us, or the executive just delivered a check from the Corey estate that was unrestricted to any use.
Wow.
That's a
So
lovely
we
thing.
Just put that in there.
Yeah.
Did you send a thank you?
We have not yet. I'm still waiting actually for a letter from the attorney. I prefer these things. It's the first time this has happened where I haven't gotten a direct letter from
Yeah.
the attorney explaining exactly what this was.
Yeah.
I had to make some inquiries because actually the person just showed up with a cashier's check, and I'm like, this is
Wow.
Yeah.
this is a little informal for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
If we could look at the bottom half of that now. So let's see. So that shows our realistic cash balance right now. Still looking good, as long as, I'd say the same thing this time of year, every year. As long as we get the grand list finalized and sent into the state, and I get my tax rates for education, then we can go ahead and set the tax rate ourselves, and
Good.
then I'll be able to get the bills out the door. I'm hoping to do that, as I have done the last couple of years, in August, which means we look like we're in good shape, and we probably will not need a line of credit this year.
Just a note on that, the grand list was going to be lodged today, but we discovered a flaw in the land use calculation. So NIMRIC was correcting that today for us. So hopefully by the next meeting, it'll all be set.
Okay, great.
And just another note on your cash, we are going to be writing a $180,000 check for our new roadside mower within a week or two. Yeah, it won't affect you really, but yeah.
Well, I'll have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's just, it's the only big hit coming up,
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's going to come out of the reserve account
Yeah.
anyway, so that's fine.
Melanie, what's 25A on the payroll?
Oh, that was, one person's pay was missed, so
Oh,
they had to
okay,
do an
okay,
extra
yeah.
one.
All right.
Yeah. I think you approved that at the last meeting. It was just I think that, isn't that right?
Yeah, it was, I forget who it was, but they had dropped the person off the payroll for some reason, our company. So,
Yeah.
yes, that's not a good
It's
thing to
just an
do,
error.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the A is the correction of the error.
Okay.
Do we look down at the bottom?
Oop.
Oops, no, I'm not done.
I thought you were done. I'm ready to move on.
So that's end of year, but those are not really final numbers, because there's at least one payroll that's going to have to be sent back to this year, even though the checks are going out in fiscal '23. They actually applied fiscal '22. Some other expenses, Joan always has to work her magic the first, as you know, the first month or two of the new fiscal year. So those are not really final numbers, but they're not going to change all that drastically,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Although we have to point out that all these are heavily skewed by the income we brought in from shires and then put out. It was just a in and out transfer, but that's why these are 122% and 112%.
No, well, that's why I'm only looking at
Yeah.
the net and
Yeah.
the net numbers there,
Yeah.
so it's the net
Oh, okay,
expenditure
all right.
number is what I'm really focusing on. That is probably gonna go up a little bit
Yeah.
closer to 100%, but obviously you've got
Yeah.
a little bit of wiggle room, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's that. Now you want to look at the reserves? You're basically going to be seeing the other half of that very big transfer that I mentioned to get the cash back into the general fund by the end of the fiscal year. So in that debit column, that's the other side of the money that went to the general fund. The only money coming in June was those water payments, most of which were late, but, so that's the activity there. And I think, does anybody have any questions about any of that, about the reserve account? So our auditing firm was here for a day last week to get set up for the annual audit. It's like clockwork now, so I think that there were
Yeah.
no issues that came up at all. But I did want to make sure that all of these, as I say, housekeeping things were handled beforehand. I'm having my meeting with the bank on Friday to finalize the positive pay, going forward with that. And there's some kind of annoying steps that I'm going to have to do every time I write checks, but they're going to walk me through all the details, and so that's happening Friday, and I think we will implement it right away. I think that at a meeting that I was not at, Dave presented you with my internal control memo. Is that correct?
That was the last
So that's
meeting.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to look at it at all, or have any questions about it? I think I've been always mentioning things as we go along, so it's just summarizing things you've heard before. But if you have any questions about internal controls, this could be... Okay. I think that's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Walk me through the process of, you have the grand list, you have the budget, and you figure out what the tax rate is, and then we approve it. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
I will. I need three things. I need the grand list, I need the budget, and I need the education rates from the state. And
Okay.
I don't have those yet either.
Okay.
So it's not the grand list that's holding us up. Nothing's holding us up. We're in great shape.
Yes. Okay, just wanted to...
Yeah, it's basically just a math problem with a lot of extra little steps.
Yep.
Because there's, like the veterans, we give an extra $20,000. There's a couple of tax-free properties that we have in town. So there's some adjustments, but
Yep.
it's basically just a division problem.
Very good, then.
Anything else?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you. Okay, we have a contract with the Bennington County Sheriff's. Did it change that much, Dave?
No, actually, the only adjustments were to make it fit what was voter approved back in March. So when you calculate this out, it just equals the amount that was budgeted. And the rest of it is the same. Joe was asking a little earlier, or Joe and I were discussing a little earlier, these sheriff services, and I do review the officers' patrol sheets for every shift, and they have been responsive. Joel Howard and Sergeant Godfrey, when I've called them and reported anything, we get them addressed, and they've helped out with a number of things. So we are trying to address some things. I know your neighborhood has a problem. We might have to look at a more engineering solution to those people who go too fast on occasion, because when we did the study there, it's more outliers that are the problem, and sometimes speed tables, things like that, correct those problems. So we'll have to look at some engineering solutions maybe for that. The other problem with your street is if you put a sheriff's vehicle on it, you can see it the second you turn into the street, so you're going to slow down like immediately. So,
Well, it works.
Huh?
That works.
Yeah, that's expensive. We only have them 12 hours a week as it is, so,
Walked off the end.
yeah. But yeah, we can look into things like that. But otherwise, it's the same exact thing. It's still for the gas rate, it can increase based on the gas rate, but even in this year, that hasn't amounted to anything. We're
Okay.
still below budget for this year, so.
That was something I had a question
Yeah.
about, because I was like, it's 489
Yeah.
at the moment. So
Yeah,
how
the-
often did they invoke that clause? Because it says, they have to
Yeah,
write
never.
in 30. They've never invoked
No.
the gas
Our
over
budget,
$4?
our hours are below what they normally would be, so it
Okay.
wouldn't even affect us.
Okay,
But we've had no formal notification, and I think, based on the 7-cent downward trend in the last week, we might be, yeah, I
Knock on
really don't want
wood.
to say anything, but we might be. And it's just an aside, I must say that our diesel prices remain extremely competitive all through this, so
right.
that was very handy. We have a good contract with both.
So this 52 per hour, is that an increase over last year's?
Yeah, $2.
contract? By $2? Okay, but it's
Yeah.
not,
No, it's
and that
nothing
was voted by?
extraordinary, no.
Okay,
And like I said, we built that in planning for it, just normal.
just kind
Kind
of
of cost
cost
of
of
living
living
increase like
increases?
everything else, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
And then, can someone explain to me the Article 10 about the 5% of the total contract fee and why the sheriff takes that? Or is that additional to the 52?
That
Or
is,
what does that mean?
That is part of state law. So that's how the sheriffs operate. I can't explain it because it's being former law enforcement, it's a little foreign to me.
Okay, so
But-
they get paid a contract fee, but then they
Right.
also get on top of that?
No, the sheriff takes that
Or
percentage
they
out of
take
the fee.
5% out of the 52 times 12, times
That's how the
however?
sheriff makes money,
Yeah,
personally.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah,
they
it's-
also
So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
no, I had the same reaction the first time I read it. I was like, what did that say?
okay.
But that's,
So it doesn't go necessarily to the department or the
No. No,
people?
it's-
That
it's
goes
Directly
to,
the sheriff.
that
it's the
goes to
sheriff's
whoever,
fee.
so right now
Right.
Chad Schmidt, that goes
Yeah.
to him as the sheriff.
Right.
yeah.
Interesting, okay.
Is it,
And,
is it possible, like, I know there's a state policeman living next to, there's a state police car parked next to the Durfee's house a lot now, like, if they parked it so it looked like it was pointing to the street. I guess I noticed in Pownell, there's a sheriff who lives right by the elementary school and parks his SUV at his house, I guess.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's a
That's Joel.
patrol. Oh, is that?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I believe that's-
So it has the effect of, people.
Like a
causing to slow
deterrent,
down through the elementary school district because it's there, but I just wonder if the state policeman turned his car around and parked it like it looked like he was, or is that not really considered?
That's his personal time. That vehicle is for responding to emergency calls. I think it's his option where he parks it on his property.
Gotcha. He wouldn't have to turn around if he parked it here.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, there's one in Arlington too, that as soon as you come past Kansas Road, it's
there.
just there.
Right.
And it's right past the flashing sign, so it is very effective at slowing people down.
It just made me think when you were talking to Joe, because, if there happened to be a sheriff who lived there whose car was just at his house, that would probably solve the problem, but,
Yeah.
I just.
Next time I'm talking about the troopers, maybe but that's, like I said, that's his personal time and his personal property, and where he parks is,
Right.
it's like parking your Comcast truck. Where I park it is really,
You could ask him.
yeah.
I was just wondering, because I just noticed as you go through Pownell, you definitely always, slow down a little
Yeah,
bit right there,
yeah.
and it's not.
Yeah, there's another one on 7A further up
Is there?
that, same thing. He just leaves it out by the curb.
Right.
But-
It's effective.
Any other, actually, I need a motion that we accept that.
Yes, you need a motion to accept it and for me to sign it.
So moved?
Moved by Mike,
Second.
second by Tony. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So carried, 500. So you're the only one that needs to sign it?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Set.
Right.
Yep.
On to the next one is an approval for me to sign the roads grant. This will be to pave and improve new culverts and stuff, White Creek Road from Rollin to the state line. This is $194,758 from the state. We'll have a 20% match on that. That we have until December of '24 to complete. And we will be dovetailing this in a yet-to-be designed engineering project, because those of you who live over there know that part of White Creek is sloping off towards the creek. So we need to do some boring to find out what's going on, and there's going to be a bit of more of a construction project to shore that up before we pave it, obviously. But this one came through first, so like I said, it's 2 years to do it, and if we were in the process of doing the road reconstruction part, the shoulder work to armor the banks and keep it from sliding, this would just get postponed a little bit. They certainly wouldn't cut us off on it, you know. So we just need a motion to, I'm the signatory on this too, but it's just a motion for me to be authorized to sign this.
So moved.
Moved by Mike,
Second.
second by Tony. Any discussion?
I just want to know, what are we where are we getting the 20% matching funds? Is that already?
We always build that into the budget in the year we
Okay,
think
so
we're
it's
going to do it.
already, and it's
Yeah,
not anything
yeah.
above for this money?
Part of a sinking fund, or?
Yeah, it's usually like the Class 3 fund. This will be part of the paving budget for that year because it's a Class 2 road. So that's why basically a 20% match is always around $35,000, $40,000. That's why the paving grant is really, paving fund always gets $35,000 to $40,000 every year.
Okay.
So we can match this grant. And in spare years, like when we did the seal coating on all the roads in Paranacres and that was because we didn't get one of these grants. Usually, the state kind of weighs it off. We tend to get a lot of these, so some years they're just like, you gotta wait, you gotta farm it around a little bit, so.
Right, okay.
But that's just kind of something that's always permanently worked into the budget.
So we have a grant, you said, that we have until December?
December 31st of 2024 to execute, and it's $194,758.40. I don't know how we came up with the 40 cents, but.
We had a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 500.
And I'd like to add one more in, just because this came today. This is one we had applied for. It's another grant as part of the Better Roads program, $46,000. This will expire June 30th of 2023. Our match is $11,500. This is to work at Maple Hill at Sally Gannon Road. There's a culvert upgrade, rebuilding the road service and the ditching, and adding a guardrail on portions of it. So that, we had applied for it, just came in today, so I'd like to be able to sign this and send it back too, so we can work that into the schedule for next year. And our match for that comes right out of the Class 3 road fund. I mean, that's kind of what it's for, so. And again, that's $46,000 for Maple Hill at Sally Gannon.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mike, second by Joe. Any discussion? We did a lot of work on that, on the flats there, and it made a huge,
Yeah,
so this is just continuing to make it so much better.
this is just going to continue along, right, and make it just that much better for the whole thing.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, 500.
I did want to bring up one thing, I'm sorry, about, what is it, Church Street with the potholes?
Church Street is being milled. It was supposed to be milled today, but he
Okay.
couldn't come, so they're going to mill it tomorrow. And they may not pave. You can't really pave when the road's wet. It's bad for it. It'll just lift right back up. So the next completely dry day, they're going to pave it out. What we've been waiting for is Weaver has a milling head on the Bobcat. You can see it parked at the post office. And to do this correctly, you have to mill out a big box and pave the whole surface. That way it'll stay, because this should be, I mean, we actually filled those with you know, and of course, sealing stuff in the winter was useless, and it popped right back out. So we didn't want to waste the time. I know they're pretty horrendous, but they'll.
Well, it sees a lot of traffic, too.
Well, yeah. And I know turning out of the post office every day, turn a little bit
Yeah.
sharper.
But you slow down.
Well,
Yeah.
please, but, the section's all the way down where,
Yeah, it's just
just to try and
chopped
patch it
up
just
there.
would be a waste, because even with hot patch,
Yeah.
it would pop out. You have to do it right,
Well,
so.
they've been popping out. As soon as you put them in,
Yeah.
like a week later,
Yeah.
it's,
So this will be milled. We actually, if you remember, we did the same thing, Mike did it going up Buck Hill to make it last until we get the grant to pave Buck Hill. You just take a bigger section, you mill it out, and you pave it over. And it stays for a long time.
And this will be paved by an actual paver, won't it?
We don't have the equipment to do it correctly, so.
when was the last time that was paved?
Buck Hill?
Yeah,
Buck Hill was shimmed, I think, like 20 years ago.
yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, so it's doing, we're just doing a shim all the way up, because it's rutted. When you get up to the bend here, you can see where the ruts for the trucks are in, and do it that way. Now, White Creek is a little bit more difficult, and that really needs to be torn up, because when you go out, when we were replacing the culvert just west of Brownells, I was out there with Mike, and you can really see, I mean, there's not much to this road. A road like that should have, quite a bit to it, and that's a pretty thin road, so it's just going to be more expensive, but it'll be done right and over with.
Okay,
Once and done.
yeah.
Should last 40 years if it's done right.
I hope so.
Okay, Sullivan and Powers is the company that does our annual audit and so on and so forth. And they're looking for a signed contract for another year. How much did it change?
Changed about $600.
Okay.
And is this a fiscal audit or an energy audit or what?
This is, we've contracted with
Okay.
Sullivan and Powers about 8 years ago
Okay.
to do an annual audit of the town. It's,
Some people wait 5 years or something.
Yeah,
We do it
you
every
just do
single
it
year.
every- yep.
And it's just so much.
it's great.
You catch on anything.
Yeah, it's great transparency
much.
because, and it's great for us too, because they clean up. And, it's nice to have professional accountants here saying,
Right.
you guys should move this over here, do this. So.
Right.
And after 8 years, we have a pretty good working relationship with them, and it's good for everybody. It's good for the taxpayers too, because, it's outside eyes
Right.
that are asking where everything is. And it comes out well every year, so.
Does it help with borrowing costs too, if you have,
I'm sorry?
does it help with borrowing costs too, if you have a professional audit, or?
Oh, yeah, because like when we did the town garage, they asked, for audits, and I'm like, which years would you like? We have like 5 years of audits every year, and they love that. The bond bank loves
Yeah.
that. When we do the water main, it's going to be the same thing.
Sure.
You guys are audited every year. That's very helpful in getting a good rate.
Yeah.
Very good point. Okay, need a motion that we accept this contract?
So moved.
Moved by Mike,
Second.
second by Joe. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. 500.
Even though you voted for it, I should point out that we approved a 3-year agreement with Sullivan Powers at this rate a few months ago. It just dawned on me that we approved this a few months ago, the 3-year contract with Sullivan Powers again, so this is just the approved rate.
I assume you're doing the roads report, Dave?
Yes. And with that, we're back to yet another grant that we're putting out to bid this week for West Mountain Road and Blueberry Hill drainage project. Anyone who's been through there at certain times of year, the way that Blueberry Hill comes in to West Mountain and then it goes over to Bennett Hill, it really can be a mess there. So we're going to work on that. That was another grant. We have a small match on that. I don't remember the amount of the grant we were given off the top of my head, but it's all in the budget, and we're just going out to bid. We'll solicit from the local contractors that we go to, the people in Shaftsbury and in the area, Weaver and Morris and Honorado, and then see who comes up with the bid for us. So that's what's really going on there. Otherwise, it's ditching projects, continuing, grading around town, and just working out the summer schedule with everybody.
Did the state design to fix Blueberry Hill and West Mountain Road?
Yeah, Mike went over it with them. I don't believe they actually did a complete fix. It was more like a discussion of it.
Okay,
Because,
all right.
the benefit is Mike understands a lot of the concepts they're talking about. So if they say do it over here, then that we don't need a full design.
Okay.
But the state always has been very helpful whenever we've gone to them. I imagine when we get back to White Creek, we're gonna have to pay for the drillers to give us these core samples, but we'll take it to hydrology first at V-Trans to design the plan that's gonna hold the road in. It's a lot cheaper than going to get your own engineer.
Yep.
That's for sure.
We still don't have a mower.
Still don't have a mower, but they tell me it's coming.
I was just gonna ask about that, the roadside mowing.
It's, was due 2 weeks ago, last week, this week. We just don't have the manpower. And,
Nobody to contract.
well, no, the dealer has it.
No.
No, our dealer has it, our new mower, and he has the new boom, and someone has to put them together. And we've been waiting on that for nearly a month. It's like, put it together.
I think you were asking about getting another person to do it.
Yeah, no,
He's out of business.
Yeah.
He retired,
Oh,
so
the
we,
one guy that we had.
Yeah.
so we had to do this.
Yeah, and what we've done, Mike has sent it for the worst corners, guys out with the weed whackers and poles and cut things back. We're really kind of pressuring them to get this done. This was supposed to have been here over a month and a half ago, and everything's in the yard in Salem, so, do something, put it together. I don't know what it takes, but here's the arm, here's the tractor, you put it on, and I assume that it's something that can be done without a great amount of difficulty.
Okay.
That's my novice opinion on it.
I'll put it together for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Need $1 million of insurance though if you do it, Joe.
Okay. Any other road
No, I think
concerns
that's
or
about it.
anything? That's it. Tony, do you have a report of the ARPA committee?
I think everybody received the postcard that came from the committee. Just reminded that there are 3 ways of responding to the postcard. You can mail it in, you can get online, you can
Drop it off
drop it
downstairs.
off.
Yeah.
And we put extra cards in 6 locations throughout the town, in case somebody hadn't received one.
Yeah, I didn't
And,
get one
yeah, and we're already receiving responses,
Yeah.
which is great.
You
So
didn't
we're,
get one?
yet. I don't.
You didn't get one?
I don't remember seeing one,
It
no.
was pretty small. It was,
It's a real-
like
it's just a
postcard
postcard.
size.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing
If
it.
you-
I'll look again, but.
yeah, if you don't have one, there's one in the post office. There's a box in the post office with empty cards. Paulin's has one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, North Bennington has one, North Bennington Post Office.
So then just pick one.
Yeah, just pick one up and you could respond online. You
It
don't
has a
have to-
QR code that you can
Yeah,
go right
yeah,
to
you
it.
could-
And it's per household. Everyone in the household
Yeah.
can do
Yeah.
it, so it doesn't need to just be one person in the household.
And we're sending out letters to the nonprofits in the area, and hoping that the ARP money will be used with other grants for these nonprofits. So we've invited them in to talk to the committee. The committee's meeting this Thursday at 5 here or on Zoom.
Probably in another month or so, I think probably we'll start putting together a list of projects, priorities, or you start putting them in?
I think we're scheduled to report, I can't remember.
November 1st.
November 1st.
November 1st, but yeah, in the meanwhile, yeah, we'll compile what we receive.
Okay.
And then Andrea's doing that now, and we're looking at general trends.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Anybody got any questions for Tony? Okay. Do we have any other business? Anybody got anything?
I have one that should have come up under announcements. The DRB needs members. I would like to thank Tom Huncharik, who'd been the head of the DRB for a number of years. He's decided to move on in a different direction. So the DRB is currently looking for a new member.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we have some personnel issues to discuss in executive session. So if there's no other business, I would entertain a motion that we go into executive session, and when we come out, all we're going to do is close the meeting, so, okay?
I'll make a motion to enter executive session.
Mike?
I'll second that.
Okay, that's a motion by Mike, second by Joe, that we enter into executive session for personnel issues. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 500.
Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.